Meow. I have a couple of books that are part of my bug out strategy and my bug out plan, and they both reflect knowledge that I am lacking in that will give me the knowledge that I need at the time to deal with a variety of issues that might pop up. Now, when it comes to survival, everyone wants to have all that knowledge beforehand. So reading survival books 1 second after, or whatever it might be, are good ideas to give us that initial knowledge so that we don't have to really carry any of those books as we bug out. However, I designed a book that is designed for me to carry. And the reason I did that was because it covers a wide variety of topics. I've got them right here. I'll go ahead and open the Ziploc bag and show you what I have here. So a while ago, I made a B+1 manual, and this stands for Bug Out +1, all right? So now I'm in a bugged out situation, and why do I need all this here? How is this going to help me? Well, this is not only does it have a little morale, right? But it just contains information that I either do not have time to study or I will need a refresher on. So what I did is I researched a whole bunch of different information that is tailored to me, and also just happen to have a couple of nice chapter separators here. This is the Liberty Tree, and just to have that as a reminder that our country's been through a lot, and the people have been through a lot. And, you know, there's a struggle around every corner. So we're not the first ones, right? And once you get that into your head, then survival, the idea of survival becomes a much easier prospect. When you've been in a comfortable environment your entire life, bugging out or prepping can be very fearful, right? So we have to almost train ourselves through literature and through the study of history to be able to make that transition, because that is going to be a huge mental transition as we begin to lose things around us in terms of resources. So B+1. Let me kind of flip through this here. I have the table of contents right here. I'll put that up so that you can screenshot what I have. And again, this is all tailored to me. And now I'll go ahead and just read them off. One is on navigation, the Polaris accuracy and how that shifts over time. 2 is solar navigation tables. And these are a set of static tables that you can take the angle of the sun to find latitude and longitude. And of course, you need an accurate watch and a map to plot it on and things like that. Triangulating distance, pace counting, things like that. Number 3 is knots, rappelling, and spring traps, and also wood densities, which is useful for the hardness of wood, especially if you have a type of wood and you want to make a canoe out of it. You know, it's going to sink, right? 4 is Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie kits. So the Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie kit is structured on the material resources that you need for A, B, and C. And A, B, and C is the different type of scenario that you're facing. A is your homestead, B is bugging out, and C is your car, right? Field shelter ideas is number 5. And this can be anywhere from just a tarp setup. It could also be removing the bed of a pickup truck if you had the tools, and using that as some type of a shelter. Just to throw out different ideas. In the land of everything, if you bug out, you're going to run into something. And if you could convert that something into a shelter, then, you know, that's a good advantage to have. Within that, section 5 is emissivity of materials. And this is very important, especially if there are IR sensors and you're trying to move stealthily through a country or a territory. So you want to know is what you have on, or what are you able to put between you and that drone. Is that going to conceal your signature? And that runs into cloaking IR signature. Number 6 is the Pacific Ocean currents, maps, and basic sailing instructions. So if you're ever on the coast and you see a boat, part of your bug out that you did not plan for is you have to get on that boat. Well, how are you going to navigate that boat? Where are you going to go? Kind of be nice to have like a map of the Pacific Ocean and onward. Number 7 are the manuals for weapons, certain weapons. And number 8 is how to use the sextant for ocean navigation. And that kind of ties into number 2, because if you can master number 2, you do not need a sextant. You can do that while underway on a boat as well. Number 9 is edible flora. And this contains a wide section of plants that are in my area or my state and my region. So not necessarily anything I could take to a different part of the country and expect to use. Although things like sagebrush and like that are fairly common throughout the desert. But again, it's been tailored to my area. Number 10, how to drive a semi-truck, basic instructions. You know, what if there's one out there and, you know, I don't know how to drive it, right? So it's just how to fly a Cessna, basic instructions. So, a story a long time ago, this kid taught himself how to fly a Cessna, got in trouble with the law, right? But if you needed it in an emergency, would you consider it, right? Well, if you had some sort of knowledge as to how to get that Cessna in the air, maybe you would. So that's what this here, how to operate a motorcycle. I do not ride a motorcycle. It'd be nice to know how, right? Again, these are things that, and the reason for this, I would never, you know, ordinarily want to know any of this stuff, but in a survival situation, hey, everything is open. Also, field DC negative welding. If I come across batteries, how could I use it as a welder? Section 11 is emergency field medicine. So how to make normal saline and start a IV, basic suturing, antibiotic dosages, setting a broken bone, treating a tooth abscess, and also, finally, I've copied our important documents, and those are in here. Things like a driver's license, just identification. So, starting out with page 1, under section 1, it's got nuclear fallout shelter right here, right? How to build a nuclear fallout shelter. And I'll kind of flip through. It shows the blast radiuses and good information on how to avoid fallout, things that you can do to increase your odds of survival. It also has the radiation expected patterns of fallout, so that you can, if you knew what region was hit by nuclear weapons, you could avoid those areas. And then it shows different types of materials that can be used to stop radiation, which is useful in building a temporary fallout shelter. And then, again, separating chapters is just words of wisdom, you know, things that would provide me with encouragement, right? And they would be different for everybody. These are solar tables. These are static, but they're relatively accurate throughout the decades. So it's not so much knowing your precise location as it is ballpark. Get me in the ballpark, and that's what these tables do. And then here's a solar declination scale that I put together, and just different information with notes, how to triangulate your location, SOS, okay, the Morse code, right? Tap, tap, dot, dash, dash, right? How would I set a signal out, right, if I had to? I've never learned Morse code. However, it is very common, especially in the communication field, right? Experts that are trained with that stuff. The binary number system, right? A section on knots. I am a Cold War sailor. I should know all my knots, but I don't. I know a basic few. Fishing knots, good knots to use that are going to be reliable. Shows you how to do these. And how to set a trap. Again, that's nothing that I've ever done. And again, this is all information that I'm lacking. So I would have to learn and study up on that. These are the ABC kits and what is inside. And this changes over time, right? But it's just the inventory that I keep. And I also keep the total number of calories. This here is the Freedom Pledge. This is a pledge that I made on my own because I wanted something to be inspired by. Photo of family. And let's see here. This is emissivity of materials. And, more words of wisdom by founding fathers. So again, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. All the sections are tabbed. And it's just all different types of information that can help me in a survival situation. So, there. Now, the second book that I would rely on is food becomes very important, okay? I do have non-traditional methods of hunting and fishing. You will never see me in a SHTF situation with a hook and sinker and a worm. So I have other ways of doing that, but my biggest shortfall are wild edibles. They have so many poisonous varieties out there that you could really get sick on. And one thing living in a spoiled country is everything in the supermarket, farm to table, has been cultivated that way over a very long period of time. And if you ever get out into a wilderness area where the food is non-cultivated and it's not familiar to you, if you have too much, it could kill you, right? In fact, the author of this book is Donald R. Kirk, and he states that very explicitly up in the opening channel or chapter, that you need to be very careful when you're out collecting wild edibles. So, and he debunks several myths, right? Oh, if you just try a little bit and it feels okay, then you can eat a lot more. You definitely don't want to do that because some of the toxins can be very slow acting. So that covers two of the most important books that I have. There are other small pamphlets that I have just for reading only, just to have something to read. So I hope you enjoyed this video. This is the Cold War Sailor out.